the sound of knocking on the examination room door during a lunch break, could only mean one thing. Dr. Falada was here with her usual sweet smile. Dr. Premzini used to call her to join her for lunch, but now it was Dr. Falada who came to fetch her from the examination room. "Let's go have lunch. Don't tell me you're not hungry." "All right, but I don't want to go to the cafeteria." That's why Dr. Falada had to come down to get her. She just didn't want to face everyone's questioning eyes, even though she often said she was ready. In reality, she wasn't ready to deal with the curious and suspicious looks regarding her heart-wrenching story. "Prem, I'm just tired of it. I didn't do anything wrong, so why do I have to deal with this?" She'd heard people say that if a woman canceled a wedding, there must be something wrong with her. Such talk only increased people's suspicion. Well, that's human. We're curious about everything except our own business. Exactly. When will this end? It won't end. Watt won't let it. Dr. Falada smiled encouragingly at her exhausted friend. Her friend had never been interested in love and always focused on work. When it was time to marry, she chose a man she thought was perfect, but facing such emotional turmoil was hard to handle. "That's another thing. He just won't give up," said Dr. Premzini. "He doesn't love a woman he messed up with. No matter what, he won't accept it. Watt has a reputation to uphold. He'll definitely try to get you to marry him again, Prem. Let's go eat. Let's not think about it for now, or we'll miss our break." "Yeah, you know, Prem, we're all on your side." "I know." Dr. Premzini smiled at her beautiful friend before they walked out of the examination room to have lunch together. Letter 1D437, letter 1D45F. Falada's words were clear to her. Being on her side meant all her friends understood and were ready to support her. The fact that her ex wasn't causing trouble at the hospital was due to Dr. Falada's orders as the deputy director of St. King Hospital, ensuring he was monitored whenever he came to wait inside. This forced him to wait for her only after work. The hospital cafeteria was still bustling with people, including doctors from various departments taking turns for lunch before returning to their afternoon schedules. Dr. Premzini smiled at her friend's plate of rice and curry. Dr. Falada always had the same dish, making her feel bored on her behalf. "Lada, don't you get tired of it?" "Tired of what?" "Eggs with tamarind sauce. You eat them almost every lunch." "I just don't know what else to eat. Too lazy to think about it." "Isn't it because it's Ern's favorite dish?" "Stop that, just eat. We have to get back to work soon." Dr. Falada pushed the condiments toward her friend, who chose noodles in thick gravy instead of rice and curry today. Their lunch was simple, but drew the attention of others in the cafeteria. Dr. Premzini sighed slightly as she felt the stares. She put down her spoon but smiled at her friend, indicating she was fine, just full from lunch. "You ate too little." "I'm really full, it's okay. Keep eating, Lada." Dr. Premzini smiled at her concerned friend before her gaze was caught by someone staring directly at her, not averting their eyes like others. The strikingly beautiful face behind tinted sunglasses was unmistakable. Even in casual clothes, this beautiful villainess still exudes an aura that draws repeated glances. The smile of the woman in sunglasses in the cafeteria irritated Dr. Premzini. The woman seemed to be deliberately provoking her, smiling and nodding as if they were acquaintances, despite knowing she didn't want to acknowledge her. The woman acted as if she hadn't heard or cared about what Dr. Premzini had said, and always tried to provoke her whenever they met. "What are you looking at, Prem?" "Nothing, just looking around." Dr. Premzini chose not to tell her friend that the woman who ruined her wedding was sitting not far away, staring at her without even trying to hide it, as if she enjoyed looking at her. Meanwhile, the stunning woman in sunglasses smiled contentedly at the Slight irritation on Dr. Premzini's face. She'd come to the hospital willingly. To accompany the man in front of her for his facial treatment, not to provoke. Dr. Premzini. Pat, what are you smiling at? I just saw someone I like. She never hid her feelings from the man in front of her, who was her cousin. And, importantly, completely uninterested in women. She's a doctor, Chai. The naval officer wanted to turn and see who his sister liked, but she held his hand to stop him. Don't you have a crush on your best friend? He asked, teasing his beautiful sister. Everyone in the family knew she had a long-standing crush on her best friend, making him think she'd always be in that kind of status, but now she said she liked someone else. I think I'll move on from Nam. If you're not sure, don't say you will move on from her. You have to be sure before telling others you're over her. Don't use your military ways to intimidate me. As a soldier's sister, you mustn't say you can't. You must always say you can. Did I make a mistake volunteering to accompany you? Let me be pampered a bit. What do you want? Kidnap Dr. Premzini and take her to a deserted island like in the dramas. Then I'll make her fall in love with me. Before she could finish, her hair was tousled by a big hand, annoyed by her dramatic talk. Handle your love life yourself. I won't help, dear sister. No one helps me. Dad, Mom, Yai Klang, and now you. Am I really everyone's favorite? She complained lightly, knowing why no one helped. If you don't make an effort for it, no one can help you. She'd been taught this since she could remember. Can I see now if the doctor you like is pretty? Oh, where are you going? Hurry, the doctor just left the cafeteria. She quickly pulled her naval officer brother along. They'd been chatting. And she didn't notice when her target left. The naval officer smiled, seeing his beloved sister determined about the doctor she liked. She'd never shown such steadfastness with her best friend, whom she had a crush on. But with this person, she was open with the family. Too late, the doctor took the elevator. Then you can go see your skin doctor. What about you? I'll wait for my heart doctor. You can go back after you're done. You said you'd accompany me. Now you're leaving me halfway. I need to check up my heart. Careful you don't come back crying. Chai. Her snarling face didn't scare the naval officer. Instead, he laughed, seeing his beloved sister determined about what she wanted, since she was a kid. She'd been wrapped in cotton wool, scared of everything, and couldn't do anything herself. She was soft-hearted, always giving in to others and often bullied by friends. The family had to consult a psychiatrist, gradually changing their upbringing. Finally, from a naive girl, she became a beautiful woman who no longer needed her family's constant care. Dr. Premzini looked at her watch and sighed slightly. She wanted to delay the end of her workday to avoid her ex, who kept trying to apologize and wouldn't accept what he'd done, making her increasingly annoyed. She wondered when her ex would understand and stop bothering her, but before she could leave her office, she had to put on her lab coat again as there was a knock on the door, and a nurse came in, saying a patient's relative wanted to consult her. Please bring them in, Joy. I'll go get them, doctor. Thank you. It didn't take long for the middle-aged nurse to escort the patient's relative, who had something to discuss, into the room. She then excused herself, leaving the doctor and the relative to talk to privately without any interruptions. As the nurse left the examination room, Dr. Premzini almost wanted to ask her to stay, but when she locked eyes with the woman who had just removed her amber-tinted sunglasses, she composed herself, leaning back slightly in her chair to signal that it was time for a serious conversation. What would you like to consult with me about? Dr. Premzini's gentle tone made Nafek smile. Despite the doctor's apparent dislike for her, she still used the same kind voice she reserved for her patients, which Nafek couldn't help but admire, no matter how much Dr. Premzini disliked her. Once she donned her white coat, she set aside personal feelings and fully embraced her role as a dedicated physician. Doctor. Yes. Doctor. If you don't know what to say, I might have to excuse myself, Dr. Premzini said, looking displeased at the smiling woman in front of her. It was clear this woman intended to irritate her. I'm just nervous and can't find the right words. It's you, after all. Nafak mumbled softly, her face showing a hint of sadness, which made the beautiful doctor soften her expression. Go ahead, I'm ready to give advice. About everything. Only matters related to patient care. You're not falling for it. Excuse me. Dr. Premzini asked, puzzled as the actress, known for playing villainous roles. Did she say something about not falling for something? How about we discuss this over dinner, doctor? Nafak suggested with a suppressed smile, seeing the doctor's stern look. That seemed to say, don't try to distract me with dinner invitations. If you don't start discussing the matter at hand, I'll have to excuse myself. Fine, I'll talk now. It's about my father. Yes, what concerns do you have about Mr. Fakhofen? My father seems more tired than usual and a bit short of breath. Nafak said, crossing her fingers behind her back. She wasn't lying, she was just bringing up her father's symptoms after he'd come out of her mother's room. They might have been doing something together, which naturally left him breathless. Has he been exercising heavily or engaging in strenuous activities? Normally, Mr. Fakhofen exercised by playing golf. Since having a pacemaker implanted, he'd been quite disciplined in taking care of himself. Yes, probably. Nafak replied, of course he has. She thought about how her father had spent a long time being affectionate with her mother. Someone at home should keep an eye on him, or better yet, bring him in for a checkup. I can then monitor his heart rhythm and possibly adjust his medication. The serious expression on the beautiful doctor's face made Nafak stare in admiration. It was worth spending hours at the hospital just to have this close conversation. The closer she got and the more she knew her, the more she realized that her heart always pounded hard whenever she met Dr. Premzini. Okay, doctor. Please take good care of him. It's best to bring him in for a checkup. Yes, doctor, thank you for your advice. You're welcome, I'm happy to help. Dr. Premzini's smile made Nafak look at her repeatedly. It might have been the first time the doctor willingly smiled at her. Perhaps the doctor had forgot that she was the woman who had caused her to cancel her wedding. But as soon as she remembered, the doctor returned to her usual stoic expression. Well, I won't take up any more of your time, doctor. I'll be going now. All right. Dr. Premzini replied as the door closed. She allowed herself a small smile. When this actress spoke nicely and didn't irritate her, she seemed quite pleasant, but her admiration was short-lived. As Dr. Premzini walked to the hospital parking lot, she noticed the actress following her. She tried to slow her pace to let the actress pass, but the woman behind her seemed to match her pace. Dr. Premzini stopped abruptly when she saw someone leaning against her car. He straightened up as soon as he saw her, but his gaze shifted when the woman who had been following her stepped up beside her. Let's go home together, doctor. The soft whisper in her ear made her turn away from the man in front of her to look at the enticing woman beside her. She then glanced down at the soft hand holding hers. Why did she let this woman lead her and agree to get into the car with her? Was it to avoid facing her ex-lover? The car moved away from the hospital and stopped at a traffic light. Looking out the window, Dr. Premzini couldn't help but glance at the woman beside her, who was on the phone discussing some work matter, seemingly displeased. Don't accept work without consulting me again, Nom. If it happens again, you'll have to solve the problem yourself. The irritated tone and the way she tossed her phone onto the back seat made Dr. Premzini shook her head. The woman beside her seemed quite hot-tempered. No wonder she had the guts to ruin her wedding, thinking back. To that day, it was strange how she now relied on this woman to escape her. Past lover. Phones are expensive. Aren't you worried about breaking it? I'll just buy a new one. Think about those who can't make ends meet. We're fortunate not to be that situation. Even if you can buy things as you please, it's better to use them wisely. Did you become a nun, doctor? Excuse me. You sound like you've reached enlightenment. Dr. Premzini chose to remain silent, turning to look out the window again. How did she end up lecturing this woman? And that teasing smile made her put on an even more stoic face. The car continued along the road until it reached the condo building. As it turned into the parking lot, Dr. Premzini looked at the driver, who was smiling. The woman seemed familiar with the condo and had an access card. More importantly, she hadn't asked where to drop her off. We're here. Thank you, Miss Pat Nafak, Pat Theranis, Doctor. Thank you, Miss Nafak. As the car door closed, Dr. Premzini couldn't help but look back at the woman who rolled down the window, smiling at her. Maybe if this woman didn't irritate her or bring up painful topics, she might eventually feel good about her. Dr. Premzini's hand paused as she was about to close the elevator door when someone hurried in to join her. Thank you. Do you live here? Yes. The woman's answer made Dr. Premzini understand why she seemed so familiar with the place, but why had she never seen her before? Did you just move in? Yes, I just moved in today. Nafak replied, providing another answer that made Dr. Premzini understand why she was seeing her at the condo for the first time. The elevator ascended, the floor numbers lighting up one by one, but the two occupants had different expressions. One wore a stoic face, staring at the elevator wall, waiting for it to reach her floor. The other stood smiling, watching her companion. Ding! The elevator stopped, and the lights went out, startling both women who instinctively moved closer together. But what shocked Dr. Premzini more than the elevator stopping was the sudden embrace from the woman beside her, who leaned on her shoulder like someone overwhelmed or hiding some fear. Doctor, Yes. I can't take it. The actress's words left Dr. Premzini confused, but not for long, as her lips were suddenly covered by the others, pressing gently and sweetly. She forgot to push the woman away as she usually would. Instead, she responded to the soft, sweet kiss.